Morning, David.
Good morning.
Pre-seasons so far, 2 wins and a draw. 2 wins against championship sides. It's quite easy, like, isn't it, pre-season?
I think Saturday was a good day for us. It was the type of encounter that I was expecting and looking for. Again, we'd like to thank Billy Heath and Frickley for their hospitality. But no, it all boded well. You know, it went well for us, and we're very pleased with the scenarios that we opened up during you know, it wasn't like you have to take a chance every time we went through, but we opened up the doors and I was pleased.
We look at a side like Frickley compared to Barnsley and Sheffield United. What do you learn about your side playing an opposition like that?
Well, it was a battle, wasn't it? And that's what we wanted, and certainly we expected it, and I made the players aware of that. So I felt that we competed against, you know, team. You know, sometimes people say, well, you're a conference side, you raise your game, and well, you know, if they rose their game because they're playing against Mansfield, and, no disrespect, but I wanted the battle, and that was what we got, so I was very pleased.
And no doubt you learnt about players who were playing maybe out of position in that game due to, shall we say, a necessity on your part, David.
Well, we only had one fit striker, and he was a just turned 18-year-old. And I felt the young man did very well. We worked on shape of obviously 4-4-1-1, a different shape that you can use, and I felt we worked very well. And I was very pleased with the attitude, and certainly Stephen Istead played very well. Certainly did. He ran off the shoulder, and I was delighted. I was just as delighted with that as I was obviously beating Sheffield United.
No surprises, David, as to where you're looking to strengthen in your squad at the minute. It's not the million-dollar question. Any transfer news at the minute?
Well, Nilo Rafferty, obviously, I think that I will say this was that the fans, you know, there was a couple of hundred there, wasn't there, on Saturday, and they recognised what we've recognised, and certainly the young boy, you know, I'm pleased that he'll be signing a contract for us. He's an intelligent young man, and I hope that he can. I had this tied up last week, so yeah, you know, the club recognised that, and we feel that he can progress. So we're pleased to get him signed up. But as I say, he's a young man. He's got a future hopefully in front of him. But it's an area where we're trying to improve, and I'm hopeful by Wednesday night that I've got at least 2 signings. 2
more new signings from other clubs or free agents?
Free agents. I'm a bit exhausted with the one in abroad at the moment, to be honest. That doesn't seem to be going any further.
Is that Anthony Elding?
It's a player in abroad, yeah. But all I'll say is I'm very close to signing a very, very good striker. Crossing my fingers, if you like, and an attacking midfield player. So we still recognise we need 2 strikers. But I'm very hopeful for Wednesday night that we'll have somebody decent to announce.
Is it a buyer's market at the minute, David, or has it been quite difficult cutting deals at this time of the year?
It's extremely difficult because the timing is everything, and it's. I virtually concluded a deal at 11:45 on Friday night, to be fair. So it's been a long process, and you have to identify players that can improve your team. So it's nearly there, and I say I'm just hopeful by Wednesday night, prior to the Nottingham Forest game, that we can hopefully recruit maybe 1-2 strikers and a midfield player.
What's the situation with Mickey Bolden?
Mickey is training at Barnsley. I had a little bit of dialogue with him yesterday. It's a case of waiting to see with that one, really, because obviously Mickey, we must respect the fact that he wants to play at the highest level, and I certainly do. He's been very open and honest. He did say that. I mean, the Mansfield fans are obviously, you know, he had a great time here, and he said that if he did sign in the conference, that he would honestly, Mansfield would probably be the only place he'd like to sign for. So that was encouraging, but you know, the lure of the championship must be it's attractive.
Just before we talk about transfers any further, just to bring up 2 issues that we didn't quite clear up with you in previous weeks. Kyle Perry leaving the club, and Mansfield Town being left short up front. What was the reasoning behind that one, David?
That's a private matter. Big Pez, he's a good player. Tamworth's close to where he lives, and we wish him well. That's the end of that, really.
And Jake Spates, he was released from prison on Friday. We didn't get a chance to speak to you about that last week. We had a very close relationship with Jake whilst he was here. You must have been very disappointed to see a young man like that end up in the situation he found himself in.
Yeah, I said it's a shame, but I spoke to Jake. He's had a very successful appeal. Obviously, the issue there obviously was regrettable on his part, I'd imagine. But likewise, he'll learn from things, and I think that the most important thing is he gets his head down and works hard for Peter Taylor, and I'm sure he will do. And hopefully he can move on from this.
I'm not suggesting for 1 minute, David, that this club kept information from Bradford City, but were you aware of the incident that Jake had involved himself in February?
No, not at all. And I spoke to Jake regarding this the other day. We had no knowledge of it, and obviously, if we had done, I'd have revealed it to Peter Taylor. Goodness me, I think that the club had no knowledge whatsoever.
In terms of players coming in, we've touched on that. What about players leaving? Because in the past few months you've been very conscious about managing budgets and players' wages. Will there be departures, or has there been departures from Field Mill already?
Well, things have changed. Obviously, as the chairman said, that we're working to a different structure of budget, and sometimes football clubs have to understand, and supporters have to. They only see the negatives. But I've had to free up some funds, and that happens. It's not always a negative. It can happen for the right reasons. But clearly, to manage the situation where we find ourselves in, I've had to allow some players to leave, and that's enabling us to fill in positions where we're perhaps short. And that may still be the case. It may not be, but every day can change at a football club, can't it?
Will there be players leaving in the very near future, then?
Not of today. But 24 hours is a long time in football, and all I'd say is that I'm trying to manage the situation as fairly and as trying to construct a squad, and that's very difficult when you have to juggle things sometimes. I've said that in previous months, and we're not a club that can go out there and just go hell for leather. At the end of the day, I've got to try and manage that. It is difficult. It's very difficult, but it's part of the job, and I enjoy it. But sometimes it can turn into a positive.
Forest on Wednesday night. Must be looking forward to that, both from the club's point of view and your own personal point of view.
Yeah, I am looking forward to it. I think it's an attractive game, and I hope that the fans come out. They did. They're supporting the team, and they're seeing what we're trying to do. And I think hopefully there'll be a healthy following as well. I'm very grateful for Mr. Davis and Nottingham Forest Football Club to come along here and give us I'm sure it will be a very good game.
Have you got an indication as to what side Nottingham Forest will be bringing, on the basis that I believe they've got another friendly scheduled for that night as well?
Yeah, well, we were told that obviously prior to the coming that they're bringing the strongest squad as possible, and I expect that. And whoever they bring, they've got some very good players, and they'll certainly be again challenging for a push and for the promotion, and I'm sure that they'll give us the respect that we deserve.
Arguably the first couple of games during pre-season about getting miles back in the legs. What are you looking for from this game against Nottingham Forest? Is it now putting more of a shape on the way you're going to play and starting to cross those T's and dot those I's?
Yeah, I think so, but I've only got one fit centre forward at the moment, so again I think a lot will be dependent on if we can get those boys over their niggles. Lee Gregory's got a slight thigh strain, Louis a tight glute, and hopefully that's freed up now. We expect the boys to hopefully take part in training tomorrow, and then obviously we're still waiting on the outcome of Robert Duffy, so we're a little bit short, but the young man, he'll play again up top, and we'll do the best as we can with what we've got at the moment.
Can you just clear up Rob Duffy's injury at the minute? What time frame are we looking at in terms of Rob Duffy coming back to the football pitch?
I hope as soon as possible, because he's come back and he's got a rumbling appendix, and that's the diagnosis at the moment. And obviously he's literally going in this morning at 11 o'clock, I think it is, for another consultation, and we hope to make if he does need an operation, get it done very quickly.
There you go.